And in today's opinion, Mike highlighted an interesting point. This kind of stems from the lawsuit from the Covington students and the law firm that's suing the outlets, including CNN. And the bottom line of the story, Lynn Wood is his Twitter. You can follow him. But the basis of the story was that they, being the different news outlets, including CNN, ran with this short video, which looked like this. They had the confrontation with, and made the story different than what a longer video showed. If you don't know, the first story was that these kids were surrounding this elderly Native American and taunting and harassing him, when in fact the longer video ended up showing that the students were being harassed by first one other group of adults verbally from across a distance, and then this elderly gentleman and his friends marched or walked up to the students, pounding the drum. So anyways, the back to the story, that was what the media outlets went with, the short little version telling the first narrative that these kids were harassing. And quickly, YouTube creators, Twitter users, it was easy to find a video that was a little more detailed. And this may end up being the kind of the context and brought this point of view. Our social media advocates and enthusiasts and YouTube creators and such doing a better job than the professional journalists, because it took them like 10 minutes to find the longer. So why didn't the professional journalists find the longer video and realize that what they were printing and putting on the air was not true? Again, this is kind of the idea behind the CNN lawsuit. And interesting enough, on an unrelated story, with the media coverage of the alleged Russia collusion that turned out to be nothing, CNN's "We are not investigators." So I'm wondering how this is going to play. In other words, again, this discussion that he said we are not investigators, Zucker, in charge of CNN, or president of CNN, trying to say why they got it wrong is because they're not investigators, which kind of brings up Lynn Wood's lawsuit question of, well, journalists are kind of supposed to be investigators. And so the point seems to be, either you're just incredibly incompetent and have accepted that fact and have no want or will to do better work, which quite frankly I think a bunch of journalists that spent a lot of money for school and paying their dues working up the ranks would be pretty offended by, or they chose not to check and look around on the story for 5 or 10 minutes, which again goes back to the crux of the lawsuit, I think. In other words, they knew damn well, or they didn't. And so anyways, I'm wondering how the head of CNN coming out with his statement that we're not investigators is going to play into that lawsuit.